It being 6:30, I'll call to order the meeting of the Carver Redevelopment Authority on November 9th, 2021. And the only agenda item this evening is discussing the two proposals we have for our consultant that will see us through the North Carver project. First off, has everyone had a chance to review both the Stantec project and the one from the, Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation? We're going to have to come up with something for that.
He said they just call themselves the foundation.
The foundation?
That was how he referred to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. I was coming up with P-Reg, but that doesn't sound good either. All right, so the first one we'll discuss offhand is the one from Stantec. And they're an enormous national company. Did you have, everybody, you did not print them off, I hope.
Number to the important page.
It was,
I didn't print anything, but I read
this
it
is, as long as you read it.
Yeah, I did. I read it.
I can't.
an hour ago.
You want to
so
get
it's
Wi-Fi
fresh.
down here? No. I can show it to you.
No, I know what it is.
Okay.
I always go to the coffin corner. That's my first, that's where I go to first.
I mean, they're very comprehensive, very professional organization. They are a national organization. There's nobody with a direct tie to Carver, and since we'll submit these into the record, their bottom line was $85,656 to take us to, basically these were proposals to take us to about April or May, to see us through town meeting.
I think that they are a big organization.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a deep staff.
Mhm.
They've done some very big projects.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they lack the local knowledge.
And I thought there might be some overlap here because they did have, they made note of a traffic study, which I think the developer will be doing in and of itself. So we could either back that out or it wouldn't have been included. But my biggest concern is that they were just a really big organization, and I don't want to run into scheduling issues. Savory, you were the one who actually interviewed them, so if you could give us some kind of a synopsis.
Well,
Or your impression.
my impression was that they're a well-oiled machine, but they are kind of a machine. I do have to say that their proposal really nailed the scope.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good job in defining what it is that we're looking for. So from that standpoint, it tells me that they listened. Mm-hmm. when I met with them. But again, they're the intricacies of Carver in and of itself. That I think knowledge of that, we're finding that out on other things with, for instance, out-of-town solar companies. It's not us, but we're finding that companies that are based not locally are not really understanding how we act and what we're looking for. So I really liked their grasp of what it is we're looking for. It's very clear they've done this before.
That's true.
And they seem very affable and eager to do this. I don't really have much of a quarrel with the price, but we're paying for a number of people.
Yeah.
And I think we're paying for people at this level, and I don't know if they have the person that's at this level to interact directly with the influencers that are here, and you know, I know that Hillwood's having some issues trying to get people to commit to at least just listening to them, and we're talking about some of the influencers. So I think that these people might have the same problem.
But what you just said there, if I might jump in for a second, really speaks to what I thought was, I would call the number one concern. We're already dealing with big company A. And I think the
good point.
juxtaposition of smaller entity B would be good for people. If we've got big company A and big company B, people are gonna feel like they're getting big timed. Like,
Yeah, that's a
people are
good point.
telling us what to do, people don't get it, we understand the small, the small town impact, and we understand that obviously that the foundation has a better grasp of the local area, but I don't think the townspeople want to be caught between two large rocks, you know?
That's a really good point, Paul.
It is a
And
great point, and there's almost, in this day and age, a built-in mistrust.
Yeah, exactly. We've
And-
already got to overcome that.
Yeah.
I don't think we want somebody who looks like them, who looks like, more like the developer than they look like us, telling the townspeople what's good for them.
Right.
I think people are going to be turned off by that.
I think that is a really good point, and I hadn't actually thought of it in those terms, because the towns, some of the players in the town are already dealing with, as you say, big company A. And this would be someone coming in to advise them. So big company B would be advising somebody else on big company A.
Exactly.
And it, you know, I don't want to use the term loosely, but that would just might be too many suits in the room.
Yeah, no, that's just it.
But that's a really good point. I did like their proposal. Like as Savory said, it really checked all the boxes, but I didn't get a comfortable feeling from it.
Warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
But they work from their template. I mean, this is the template proposal they use, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It was very professional,
Yeah.
and like you said, I thought it hit the right notes. I do think that the foundation's collapsing some of these things down into the work of one person, whereas these folks are saying, no, these are the 6 people that work on it.
Yeah.
And do we want to pay for the 6 people if somebody else is going to do it with?
Well,
folks?
it would be, it could be the case of, you know, maybe if they were talking to the North Carver Water District, one person is going to talk to the North Carver Water
Sure.
District, but one person is going to talk to Fire and Safety, one person is going to talk to Town Administrator, one person, and our contact point should always be the same, not, you know, maybe they report to somebody else who reports to
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
and it might get unwieldy.
Yeah, exactly, but from a billable hours perspective, just because they have somebody that handles traffic and they have somebody that handles building review, do we want to pay billable hours to 2 people where one person might suffice given, I mean, like, it's a big project for Carver, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not so big that you need 6 folks to pull
Yeah.
things together.
Well, Carver, as the town, isn't so big that it needs 6 folks.
There we go.
You know, maybe the project will end up having, you know, 6
Fair.
professionals
Fair enough.
when it gets to that point, if it does, but maybe our little town hall doesn't need that many people, and those are really good points. The other proposal we had is from the foundation, and Stephen Cole came in and spoke to us last week at our meeting, and that's available on the Area 58 if anyone wants to see his presentation. Stephen Cole is somebody we've all known, I'm assuming. Maybe Paul, maybe you never met him
I know
before
him.
last week. But he was the town planner here for a couple of years, a few years back. And he does have that very personal touch in that he would be the only person working on the project. He would be the point person, the contact person. He certainly has a vast knowledge of the town, knows many of the people already in it, knows many of the people in positions already in it. And he sent a breakdown of his hours and time, which is essentially a little less than half. The other thing with the foundation is that it has, as he stressed last week, a regional impact. And I kind of like that approach as well, because it might bring in influences beyond our borders for something that will possibly affect beyond our borders as well. So I'd like to hear any opinions on that.
One thing I noticed that, I'm sorry, I believe her name was Christine, she she's the,
Christine Joy?
yes,
Yeah.
the select person from
Mhm.
Plimpton. And it being a regional entity, I feel like there'll be more of a comfort level with the folks from Plimpton who are impacted with the foundation versus if you bring in Stantec who's working for Carver, and we want them to reach out to Plimpton especially, but I almost feel like that comfort level is super important too. And if I were from Plimpton, I'd feel more comfortable dealing with the foundation than I would with Stantec, whose interests are probably more, let's say, black and white and aligned to what we're trying to do for Carver.
Oh, again, good point, Paul. Pat?
All good points, but that was kind of my thoughts. Anyway, you've got the Xantec, which is a big company. Their business model requires them having these specialists
Yeah.
so that they can deal with many projects at the same time, and they deal with some pretty big projects, you know?
Yeah.
And, but what gets lost is that personal touch, is that, relationship with the local and regional that I think is very important, that I think the foundation can provide. And again, we're not in a position to look at low bidder.
Yeah. we don't.
So we don't even want to talk about the money, although it's substantial. But I was impressed with Stephen Cole and his approach, his knowledge. He's already got relationships with most or all of our major players, within the town, and I think that's a distinct advantage.
And I think that might be a case where any one of us, any one of the people who might be having to deal with Stephen or the foundation is pretty comfortable picking up the phone or going to see him in his office 10 minutes away.
Well,
It's right down on Court Street.
Right.
Excuse me, right by the town hall. So accessibility to someone that is going to answer their questions very quickly and in a timely manner, which I absolutely feel that way about Stephen. Do you have any thoughts, Savory?
Well, yeah, there's a number of things. First of all, people are going to be more willing to open their door to Stephen than to someone from Stantec who they don't know. Going along with what Pat was saying, my career, the last 15 or 20 years of my career, I was a department head and in advertising, and I had large departments, and we had to divide people up by percentages of what client they'd work with. And you'll work 50% on AT&T and 20% on American Express. It never happens because you're expected to work 100% on everything that you're working on. And with all 6 people, we know that this isn't their only thing. And they're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions. So we may not get the quickness and answers that we need from Stantec. And the flexibility that we may need. Whereas working with Stephen, we're going to be pretty much his only game.
His only game.
So we're going to get the kind of service that we like. I think Stephen's record when he was here speaks for itself. He was very well liked across the board by people in the town and people in town hall. And he got a lot accomplished through town meetings in getting a lot of the zoning and planning articles through, and that can't be denied. He was very good at doing that. So I think that Stephen is a great choice for Carver. And Paul, to your point, I think it'll give people in Plimpton a little bit of reassurance that they're not being left out.
Right. Or this, which we also don't want.
Right.
But they're also part of the regional foundation.
They are, and it might open a door for him there as well.
Yeah.
Right, and Stephen, being the director of this regional foundation, may know of other things that are going on throughout the region that could at some point tie into this
Exactly.
Yeah,
and make it more synergistic across the entire region.
yeah.
Because he's got his finger on the pulse of everything that's going on. I think it was pretty clear that he knew a lot of stuff that was going on in this area.
Or, I mean, it's hard to say, but if we, as we were saying last week, if you need Plan B, I'd rather have his take on Plan B than, I mean, Stantec won't know.
Right.
I'm not blaming them, they just won't know.
They won't
Right.
know,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
That being said, is there a motion to accept one or the other?
Did you need to read Joanna's letter first or after?
I'll read it in the discussion part of the motion.
Well, then I moved, so moved.
I said one or the other.
One or the other. I move that we accept the bid from the foundation.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
For discussion purposes, our member Joanna Layton is not able to be here this evening, but she did send me a letter, which I believe she addressed to the rest of the board, but she did ask to be read into the record. She did watch last week's meeting as well. And it says, Sharon, I cannot attend tonight's meeting, but please accept my vote via proxy and read my email into the record. I carefully read both proposals and cast my vote for the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation, known as PREDF. The interview with Stephen Cole via the minutes cites, and she's quoting here, Mr. Cole, we have to be mindful of the town's core values. What I'm hearing is largely administrative. Through a series of community meetings, we can get a good feeling of where we stand. Then, Mr. Cole says in closing, quote, we could replicate the Council on Aging survey for this project, unquote. Joanna says, I have said from our early meetings, quote, to have community meetings, unquote. What better person to articulate than our former planner, whom our community already knows? The other suggestion that Stephen made above is to replicate the COA survey. Both Stephen and Savory were instrumental leaders on the COA survey. All green lights for me. Thanks, Joanna Layton. I'm going to take that as a vote in favor. However, our vote will only reflect the four of us here. All in favor of accepting the foundation as our consultant, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The vote is 4-0 with Joanna's proxy letter read into the record. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.